everybody. Welcome back. It is week 2 of, I guess, our unnamed NFL show that Mason and I are doing. We're trading off hosting. Last week, the kid was the host. This week, I slide into the veterans hosting chair, joined by a brand new crop of experts. Some of these guys, you've perhaps read some of their stuff. Maybe you've seen them in other places. But today, they're with us. We're going to talk about the NFL games. We're going to talk about the, 11 early games, guys?
One really early game.
Yeah, one really early game. Well, it's so early it's on Thursday, but yeah, we do have the first London game this week. So before we get rolling, let's introduce our cast of characters here. First of all, in your upper left, I don't know how you're seeing this. You seeing this across or in the upper? We'll just start with the guy who he was really in a much better place last week as a Colorado Buffaloes fan. This week, a little disappointed. It's the one and only. You know him, you love him. It's Mason the Magician Folz. Mr. Folz, how are you, buddy? Ready for USC this week?
I couldn't be more excited to watch Caleb Williams, as that's about the only thing I'm looking forward to. But hey, Buff's already got 3 wins. I can't complain after last season. Ready to take it on head on and keep rolling throughout the season.
Mason's also a Broncos fan living in Denver there, and they lose by so the Broncos lose by 50.
112 to 26.
And 112 to 20. You've already done the math, huh?
It's
not that he's
like
so
I haven't been thinking about it.
An 86-point differential for the two teams. Mason, have you guys ever topped that?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, good. See, better days ahead.
Exactly.
Better days ahead. Next in line, and actually, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. We've only spoken via the email situation. It's the first time I've actually met him face to face. It's Seamus Cole. Seamus, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? I appreciate you got my name right the first try. That was impressive.
I was going to say this is for like the 34% of the people out there that call you. What are you getting? Siamus? What do you get a lot?
Yeah, I think 34 is quite generous. Usually it's about 75% that say that the first time. But yeah, I'm Seamus. I'm pretty new to the game right here, but I'm excited to join you guys. Excited to be here and talk some football. So I'm ready.
Excellent. Nice to have you. Where are you from, Seamus, or where are you right now?
I grew up in Florida, actually. So big football area. And right now I'm living out in Los Angeles. So.
Los Angeles, the city of angels. Where are you at out there?
Kind of by Hollywood, like Eastern Hollywood area.
All right. I lived at like 12th and June for like a couple years right off.
Okay. Yeah.
Right off of Highland, Santa Monica Boulevard. Anyway, nice to have you with us. I'm sure it's a beautiful day in LA because, well, it usually is. So coming in next, this is a guy that's been writing for us for a while. A good multi-sport expert. I'm excited to have him on the show. It is Mark Ruelle. Mark, how goes it?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking
excellent. And what part of the world are you joining us today from, Mark?
From the great state of Massachusetts, just outside of Boston.
And is that where you are? Did you grow up?
I am born and raised. So I'm a diehard, you name it, Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, etc.
Okay, all right. It's nice to have you here, and
Thanks.
it's nice to have you here this year as opposed to about 4 years ago when I'm sure you were much more insufferable. So
that's fair.
Thanks for joining us. And last but not least, you know him, you love him, you've seen him on the show with us numerous times. If you tuned in last year. All the way from Houston, Texas, by way of Cleveland, Ohio, the mistake by the lake. It's David Delano. What's up, Double D?
What's going on, Steamroller? Glad to be back again for this season. Talk some NFL with you guys and the guys that I'm doing this with for the first time. So looking forward to it.
Good. It was, and you had the anti-Mason weekend. Your Houston Texans, and I know you don't claim them, but you do live in Houston. They had a nice win over the Jags, and the team that you do claim, the Cleveland Browns, had a very, very impressive performance. So, and you're a Bowling Green graduate as well, right?
Yes. They really showed up on homecoming. We're down 31-0 at halftime against Ohio University. So
I was going to say, well, let's talk more about the NFL then. I know the Falcons didn't have their best week, but hey, we got Maction coming, buddy. So at least you're going to be able to share that with the rest of the country. So excited about that. All right, kids, we're going to get rolling here. By the way, I'm Scott the Steamroller Steehn. It's good to be back. It's good to be with you guys. I I miss doing the vids. I miss speaking to the people all the time. So it's nice to have a little let me out of my cage once a week to do this show. So let's get rolling with a little Thursday night contest in the black and blue Norris division, if you will. It's the resurgent Lions against the sort of surgent Packers. Lions, road favorites of a point. The total in this one is a 45. Oh, let's go age before beauty. Seamus Cole, what do you got?
I appreciate that. So a lot of this actually depends on the Packers and their injuries. David Bakhtiari is a question mark. I recently read an article that says he wants to play. Like there's been concerns about his willingness to play, but I trust him enough. And if he wants to be on the field, he'll be on the field. It's just a question of whether he's actually going to be on the field. Aaron Jones is also a question mark in the running game. A.J. Dillon didn't really provide enough of a spark, I think, in the running game, so he's badly missed. Other than that, I mean, Jared Goff is still doing great as a Lions passer. Laporte, is it Laporte? Yeah, it's Laporte. As the tight end has really been a great sort of no name coming out. If it's a close battle, obviously the spread is -1, but if Aaron Jones is healthy and David Bakhtiari is healthy, I think Jordan Love can do just enough to win at home in Lambeau. Jordan Love has been also pretty solid as well. So,
all right, very good. And this is a good time to remind everybody that we are recording this on Tuesday. So obviously there's going to be a lot of injury questions, and there's going to be some critical injuries that you're going to have to account for before you make this bet. So keep that in mind, as all of our predictions are based on, really, when you're doing it Tuesday, you're looking at the injury list. They're based on rolling the chicken bones and seeing what you come up with, because a lot of those you don't really know. It should surprise no one, however, that David Bakhtiari is injured. With that guy, and he just seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and take some unfortunate shots, because he's a gamer. He always wants to be out there, man, and he'll come back late in the season where most guys will just pack it in for the year. He's out there working, and I feel bad for him. But they've got 3 guys banged up on the offensive line. They've got the left side is banged up with Jenkins and Bakhtiari, and then you've got Zach Tom, the right guard, also questionable. So we'll see how that plays out. Mr. Ruelle, do you think the injuries are going to have as big a factor as Seamus and I do?
I think I feel like we're in a weird world that I think that Detroit's a favorite in Green Bay, and deservedly so, which is even a stranger observation. I really like the Lions in this one. I think the line's actually too low. If you look at Green Bay, they're 27th in the league running. I know we're a short sample here, but that's not very good for them because they need to run with Love at quarterback. I think last week he looked like a first-year quarterback. And honestly, they wouldn't have won the game if Carr doesn't get hurt. Carr doesn't get hurt, they're losing that game, and they're looking at 1-2 in this game. So for me, I think it's the Lions all the way. Short week helps the Lions here because I think Green Bay will probably be harder to get those guys back in a short week. They're probably more likely to push them all back till with another 10 days off. So yeah, I like the Lions here. I like the line a lot at -1. And I also, given the Thursdays, I usually tend to lean towards the unders on Thursdays on the short weeks. So I like the under. I like the Lions to cover here.
I think that's solid. I think you have 2 teams that are going to want to run the football more than they want to pass it. So yeah, I think the under on Thursday with the Packers coming off the short week, especially, is going to be a fair play there as well. Mr. Delano, what say you, sir?
Interesting that you said that. Just some thoughts on as far as the total. I do like the side better. Initially, I looked at this and was leaning towards the under. But when looking at this, I know you mentioned both teams wanting to run the football. Neither team has been able to run the football well this season, but they've done a pretty good job of passing the ball. So that's kind of making me think that this could possibly be a sneaky over. But what I really like in this is the Lions to win this game. The Lions have been much better yards per pass attempt. And also, when you look at a division game like this where the small things can matter, Green Bay Packers are the second most penalized team in the NFL right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions on this, and also maybe a slight lean on the over because both teams have also been protecting the quarterback really well. But my play on this is going to be on the Lions to win.
Very good. Mason Folz.
Yep, I'm going to be rolling with the Lions -1 on the road as well. I also saw an article that said Christian Watson's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring injury, so just another injury to add to that Packers list. Kind of just worries me there. So I'm going to stick with Jared Goff. He's looked solid to start the year. I think the Lions go into Lambeau and get the job done again.
Solid. Here's the deal with Jordan Love. He is dead last in CPOE, which for those of you that don't delve deep into the football geek analytics, is completion percentage over expectation. That's not good. Not good. When you're dead last, it's not good. Both of these teams, like we talked about, they want to run the ball. They are 10th and 11th in rush attempts per game. The problem for Green Bay is the defense for the Lions is much more effective at stopping the run. 5th in the National Football League, giving up just 3.2 yards per carry. Detroit 2-1 on the season. Packers 3-0. However, Detroit had a problem against Seattle, and most of it was self-inflicted. They fumbled at their own 22-yard line, and they gave up a pick 6 in the overtime loss there to the Seahawks. I think those are kind of one-off situations. Talked about the injuries before. 3 questionable guys there on the offensive line, even if they play doubtful, they're at 100%. And they're going to go up against the Detroit defense that had 7 sacks versus the Atlanta Falcons last week. So, Hutchinson's and the boys are going to be pinning their ears back and coming after them. I think the Lions -1 is the play here. So, Mason, you got all those cool graphics loaded up for the game in London? All right, go ahead and hit them now. Perfect. All right, excellent. This is the first overseas game of the year, which there will be many this season. It's the London Jags. The Jags, I think, have played more than anyone else. They've played 9 times in London. And unlike in Jacksonville, people actually come out to see them. So that's cool. They are officially the home team in this game as they face the Falcons. Falcons are a 3-point underdoggy. 43.5 is your Wembley total. Seamus Cole, what do you have on this one?
Ooh, back-to-back. Okay, cool. I like the Jags in this one. The owner actually has a lot of connections in the London area, so this technically makes the Jaguars like a home favorite, which is really helpful for the crowd. I also believe that Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, those boys, they're going to do a lot better than they did last week against the Texans. They'll come back with renewed energy. And they now realize that the division of the AFC South isn't just for the taking for them, which is be interesting. And yeah, Atlanta, they've been all right. Bijan Robinson has been stellar. Great draft pick there. But I still think the talent of the Jacksonville Jaguars will just carry them and cover the spread.
Very good. Mark Ruelle?
I like the Jags. I do think it helps that this is their home away from home. They're kind of comfortable with the trip. They're fairly used to doing this trip. And the other thing that jumps out at me, the two teams, Atlanta likes to run. The Jags are 7th in the NFL against the run. The Jags like to throw, and Atlanta's 4th against the pass. But that one, to me, is a little bit deceiving because Atlanta's played 2 cupcakes early on until they got to Detroit. So they haven't played anybody with passing. Looking at Lawrence, he's going to be facing the league's 30th rated sack percentage. So Atlanta doesn't get to the quarterback, so he's going to have time to sit back there. I really like the Jags in this game. I don't think 3 is a high number at all in this game.
Okay, very good. Mr. Delano.
Yeah, well, this game won't be the one where I'm going to go against anything that you guys said. I also like the Jags in this one, playing their home away from home. They're coming off of that embarrassing loss against Houston. Can't knock them much for losing to the Chiefs, but now after losing their last couple games, I think that they're going to definitely be fired up. They are the better team here, and I don't think that this Atlanta offense is really going to be built to keep up if they fall behind. So I like the Jags in a pretty nice bounce-back spot here to win this game by at least 6 points.
Very good. Mason Folz.
Yep, I'm going to keep this one the same. I'm also going to take the Jags -3 as, like you guys said before, it's their home away from home. And this is a bounce-back spot. They looked absolutely terrible last week, which is why everyone's going to think they're going to lose this week. But they're going to come back strong against the Falcons.
Oh! I'm the lone wolf here, boys.
Don't do it.
Taking the Falcons on the money line, plus 133. I am just not that impressed with this Jacksonville team. I'm sorry. I know they're the preseason darling. I've watched them play twice this season, and I haven't been impressed either time. Weird game against Houston. They ran 69 plays to just 46 for Houston. They had a missed field goal, blocked field goal, interception, and a fumble. But Atlanta is a team that likes to rush the ball, as we talked about. Jacksonville's been good so far against teams that like to run the football. However, I don't think they've played anybody that is going to be as dedicated to the run as the Atlanta Falcons. Jacksonville has played 9 games in London, kids. They've given up 23.3 points per game, and they've given up less than 20 just one time. I'm taking the money line here instead of the 3 points. We talk about why you should do that. Basically, if you're going to take a dog of 3 points or less, it's always the good play to take the money line. Why is that? Well, because 23.3% of the games are decided by 3 points or less. However, we're getting a huge bump. This goes from minus 112 to plus 133. That's 40.1%. That's a 17% overlay. I'm taking it every time, and you should too. The Falcons money line plus 133. Ow. All right. Mason, you might want to step out for this one, buddy.
I'm ready.
It's the Broncos traveling to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Bears. The Broncos, hit record on your whatever you're watching this on, hit record right now, because I'm going to tell you the Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. Probably won't say that again for the rest of the year. Total of the Broncos game, 46. May not say that again for the rest of the year either. Seamus, somebody's got to talk about it first. It's going to be you. What do you got?
Why do you make me do that? Okay. Yes, the Broncos and the Bears had quite possibly the worst defeats out of the two teams, out of every single game this past Sunday and Monday and Thursday.
Good news for the Bears. Taylor Swift will not be at this game. So
Right. Yeah, I don't think she's doing her Chicago tour anymore either. So that might have to be crossed off the list. But I do actually like the Broncos in this case. I'm going to give Mason a little bit of confidence for some reason. Maybe I feel bad. I don't know what it is, but I also believe in Sean Payton and Russell Wilson a little bit more than I do Justin Fields. Sean Payton, they scored more than 17 points, the Broncos did, which is a feat in its own right, even though they did give up 70. But I still believe that the defense, once they realize that, okay, they're still in this game, they can, hold on as much as they can, and Russell Wilson can do his thing against the porous Bears defense. I like the Broncos in this case.
I'm pretty sure the water boy ran for a 40-yard touchdown there at the end of that game for Miami. I'm not sure, but they were getting a lot of guys in that game that I had never seen before. So, very good. Broncos, Mark Ruelle, what you got, buddy? You betting the pink slips on this one?
I think Sean Payton's suffering from the curse of blasting your previous coach and calling him the worst coach ever, and as a result, painfully struggling through the season. I'll tell you, the only thing I like in this game is the over. I do like the over at 46. I mean, you're looking at the 32nd ranked total defense in Denver, the 29th ranked defense in Chicago. Chicago's secondary is all kinds of banged up. And Denver, as you said, anybody can run on them at this point. Denver, another thing that struck me for a team that has a veteran coach, they're 30th in the league in penalties already, which is just atrocious. So to me, I don't know that I would be feeling good on either end. I do feel good about the over in this game. I would take the over of 46. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't hate taking a total there. It's hard to root for either one of these teams. It really is.
I'll tell you, one thing that's I was one of the people that did believe Chicago was going to have a pretty decent year. I am shocked at the demise, so to speak, of Fields. He's looked really bad in his third year, which really did surprise me. I thought he was going to take the third-year leap, and he's gone the other way.
Yeah, he really has. Well, in fairness, Chicago, the city, had a pretty good year. Sports teams, not so much. But David Delano, you're used to watching a lot of bad football, living in Houston. You should be right at home in this one. What do you got?
Well, thoughts on the side and total this one. First of all, I do agree with the mark on the over 46. If you're a young football player, whether, Pee Wee, Pop Warner, JV, varsity, do not pick up any tackling tips from this game. Neither of these teams seem too interested in that. I think that with both defenses being so bad, we are going to get an over. And full disclaimer on this before I give my pick, I actually did like the Broncos last week. So also probably my worst handicapping loss of all time. But I do like the Broncos in this spot. I know normally in the NFL, home field advantage is worth 2 to 3 points. I actually think that home field is going to be a disadvantage in this spot. Denver, I think after losing by 50, they're going to be happy to be on the road again. There's really no trends or stats to see how teams respond after giving up 70 points. But for the Bears here, on a 13-game losing streak, and now they're at home. The Bears were down 41. I know they scored 10 points, made it a little bit closer, but both of these teams were destroyed last week. Although the Broncos lost, just giving up that 70, looks a lot worse, and I feel like they're going to be more embarrassed. So I think that Denver's still the better team. I think that they're going to respond. And even if Denver gets up in this game just 7-0 and the Bears go 3 and out, I can really see the Chicago fans getting very frustrated and completely turning on the Bears in this game. And I think that that's what's going to happen. And I think that the Broncos are going to cover. I would wait. If at the 3.5, I'd wait and see if you could get a 3. But if it doesn't budge from 3.5 or even goes to 4, I would still take the Broncos to cover.
All right, very good. I'm really disappointed that you didn't go back and look up what the Washington Redskins did the next week, or the Bears did the next week after putting up 73 on the Redskins back in 1940. I'm disappointed. But then you could be a smart ass and tell me, well, you know what? It was the championship game, so there was no next game. So there you go.
It also happened in 67. I think
the Redskins and Giants. I think it's 67 or 66, something like that.
That's right. Yep. Mason, what's a bigger surprise to you, that the Broncos are 0-3, or that they have the last ranked defense in the NFL?
The last ranked defense for sure. That was coming into this season. The only thing that I was hanging my hat on with the Broncos, I was like, hey, at least we can just score 20 points every week. We might be able to have a chance. But hiring of Vance Joseph, everything's changed, and that's no longer the case. So with this game, like we've said before, I'm going to be riding with the over as well. Don't trust either defense. Russell Wilson's actually surprisingly looks okay to start the year. I'm not going to throw him under the bus yet, but the Broncos defense is atrocious. Can't stop the run. Watching them against the Dolphins this last week was seriously like watching a NFL team play a high school team the way they were tackling. It was just nothing. No one was hitting the ground, and I don't know if you can fix that in a week. So I think the Bears are going to be able to run the ball a little bit, and both teams are going to score enough points to push this one over the total of 46.
All right. He's jumping off the Broncos bandwagon, kids, right there. When you've lost Mason, Denver, you've lost a lot.
Seriously.
I don't think Mason's given high school tackling enough credit there.
Very good.
That's a good point,
At least they'll occasionally wrap up at the high school level.
Seriously.
So, guys, here's the thing with this game. If you put a gun to my head and said I had to bet on it, I would ask you, what caliber is the gun? Because this is just going to be ugly. Both of these teams are dreadful. I think the difference is Denver has a chance by the end of the season to be just bad. I don't think there's any hope like that on the horizon for the Bears anytime soon. This is a team in disarray. It ain't getting any better. They just lost their DC. And, the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs could have hung 70 on them if they wanted to, but they pulled it back 34-zip at halftime and started to run the football. But they could have hung a 7-0 on this Bears team as well. I say it a lot. In the land of the barefoot, the man with one shoe is king. I think the Broncos have on a sandal today. Give me the Broncos -3.5. I hate myself in the morning. I hate myself in the morning. Hey, speaking of disappointing quarterbacks, how about the Joe Burrow Bengals -2.5 heading on the road down to Nash Vegas to take on the Tennessee Titans? Looking at Bengals road favorites up 2.5. Your total is 41 and the hook. Seamus, tell us all about this game.
Sure. Yes, Joe Burrow has struggled immensely, and sorry for the fantasy owners that have him. I thank God I did not pick him, although I really wanted to at that point. But I still believe in Joe Burrow and the Bengals against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans gave up 30-plus points against the Cleveland Browns, where Deshaun Watson has not looked great. Jerome Ford, as a running back, averaged about 1.8 yards per carry in that victory. And I think Joe Mixon is a little bit better of a running back than Jerome Ford. So if the Bengals can effectively run the ball a little bit better, that might set them up for more Jamar Chase action, for more T. Higgins action. I like the I like the Bengals and Burrow's offense a little bit better than Tannehill. Derrick Henry was stuffed last week. So I think a lot of teams have figured it out. If you can stop Derrick Henry in the run, easier said than done, then you can get after Tannehill a lot more quickly, and you can make them one-dimensional. So I like the Bengals in this case.
Tell you what teams never figure out is once you have a running back that carries for 400 times in a season, he's done. And they did that 3 years in a row with Derrick Henry. And if you look statistically, it's dreadful. I think it's 400 carries if I'm not mistaken. Anyway,
Probably.
That'd be a lot. No? Yeah, I think it is 400. Okay. Nothing like a fun stat that I can't get my hands around. Very good. Mr. Ruelle, Bengals, they're going to snap back here against the Titans?
I think we saw last night what they do when he gets healthy, which is a lot. They moved Chase around a lot last night, which I for them to get him the ball. And you just hit the nail on the head. The Tennessee's 25th in rushing this year with, the best running back in the league for the last 4 years, who is probably close to being done. It's just what happens when you get the ball over and over again it's getting a car wreck every week, and eventually this catches up to you. And what happens? All of a sudden, Tannehill looks like what he is, which is a journeyman NFL quarterback at best. I mean, there's no comparison between Burrow, even injured, compared to Tannehill. And I think what you'll see here is the Bengals do the same thing. They're going to protect him as they will for the next few weeks until he gets healthy. A lot of short throws. Their three receivers are better than anybody the Titans have in their top three receivers. They don't have a lot of penalties. They're third in the league in penalties. They actually play the pass well. I think you're going to see the Bengals each week get better and better, and this is a good time to jump on them again. I think the line last night was right, and it's right again to take the Bengals this week.
Okay. I probably would argue with you that DeAndre Hopkins is better than T. Higgins. That's just me.
Getting a little long in the tooth, but yeah.
He could. Yeah, and I don't know what the average age of the Titans is, but I'm guessing it is substantial between Tannehill, Henry, DeAndre Hopkins. I know they've got some gray beards on the line there. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they are a pretty long in the tooth team, as you said. Mr. Delano, what do you got here?
I'm not so certain that Derrick Henry's done. I just think that the book is pretty much up on the Tennessee Titans and how they run their offense. I don't know how much longer they can really send Ryan Tannehill out there. I feel like at some point you have to see what you have in either Will Levis or Malik Willis. I know he didn't look great last year, but you have to see what you have. Tannehill's looked terrible. Right now, Joe Burrow is just not 100%. He's far from 100%. My favorite play on this is the under 41.5. I think that the Bengals, they're going to look to this is going to be an ugly game. They're going to run the ball a lot. They want to protect Burrow, not going to have him drop back too much. Ryan Tannehill just absolutely terrible. And we know what the Titans are going to try to do. So I think 41.5 is actually a high total for this game. Really anything under, 39, I'd play the under in this. So, I lean towards the Bengals, but my favorite play on this one would definitely be under 41.
We're good. Mason Folz.
I'm going to go with the Bengals -2.5 here as well. I was really impressed with the way they got after the quarterback when they were playing the Rams. They were putting Stafford on the ground left and right in that Monday night game, which was pretty impressive to see. I think their defense is going to stay strong again this week because I just don't believe in Tannehill and this Titans offense. And like Mark said, I think this Bengals team is going to slowly get better and better each week. Joe Burrow, if he's not rolling out in play action, scrambling all over the place, creating plays, he's still very efficient. He's going to move the ball down the field slowly. And this Titans team isn't going to stop them consistently throughout this game. So I'm going to take the Bengals -2.5.
Very good. By the way, that threshold I talked about for running backs, 300 carries, not 400 carries, 300 carries. And he did that 2 years in a row, 2019, 2020, and then went 349 last year. So 3 of the last 4 years, he's carried over 300 carries. So it would not be surprising at all to see the 29-year-old Derrick Henry be on the downside of his career. I'm going to agree with Delano on this, by the way. I've got the under 41.5. Burrow right now just not getting it done. I don't know if it's the calf injury. He seems to be, when you see him, he seems like he's walking okay, but perhaps it's something as far as being, and it's a right calf, right? So he's not be able to push off and drive through the ball. He is 33rd in quarterback ranking, traditional quarterback ranking, not QBR. He is one spot ahead of Zach Wilson, who is 34th, and that is dead last, kids. I think this is going to be a lot of short passes. I think Mark was talking about the short controlled passes until Burrow gets his confidence back or gets healthy, whatever his issue is. I think obviously the Titans, you know what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to run the ball a lot with Derrick Henry. I agree with the rest of you guys on Tannehill. He has been exposed. The worse Derrick Henry gets, the worse Ryan Tannehill gets. Funny how that works. I'm taking the under 41.5 here as well. So, all right. Two teams that absolutely dominated last week. The Miami Dolphins head to Orchard Park, take on the Buffalo Bills. Bills 2.5-point home chalk. And the total in this game, it's 85. No, it's 53.5. So they don't think the Dolphins are going to hang another 7-0 on them. Seamus, tell us why you like the Fins here.
Ooh, this is one of my more exciting games. As a Patriots fan, I know one of these teams is going to lose, so I'm okay with that either way. I do like the over of 53.5. Tua Tagovailoa has done incredibly well. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle's obviously a question mark still right now. But even with Jalen Waddle out, they were able to score 70. I'm going to reemphasize that again, Mason. Sorry about that.
Think how good they'd have been with Waddle in the lineup.
Exactly. Maybe 80 might have been good. But I do like the over in this case more than any other line. I do believe the game will be close. This will be an offensive battle. Josh Allen will be doing his thing with Stephon Diggs, trying to match up against Tua and Tyreek. That offense seems unstoppable right now, especially with Mostert and Akane. I can't pronounce his name. Is that it?
From A&M, I believe.
Yeah, A-Chain?
Yeah.
A-Chain, something like that.
A-Chain,
yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Backup running back. We'll learn more about him, I'm sure, in the future weeks. We'll get his name right, I promise. But I do like the over in this case.
All right, very good. I was just looking at the okay, so the Dolphins, they did punt once and turned it over on downs twice.
Twice?
They went for it on 4th and goal one. That's when I turned it off. I was like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, they went forward. They turned it over on downs, and so that was they did. There's a little left there. There's a little gas in the tank, is what I'm saying. Man, I didn't know we had 2 Patriots fans here. Holy mackerel!
Thank goodness Brady's gone. We'd be in trouble.
Who's booking this show? Jesus, Mason, come on. Mr. Ruelle, do you agree with your fellow masshole there?
You know what? I did. I think I like the Bills in this game, -2.5. You know, one of the things everybody's talking about Miami's offense, rightfully so, top total offense 1, running the ball 1, passing 1. But the Bills' defense has been very good. They're number 2 in total defense, and they're 3rd against the pass. And more importantly, in this game, which is Tua has not faced yet, they're number 1 in sacking the quarterback. So I think he'll get the first sign of pressure. I know they're doing a great job of getting the ball out, but I do think the Bills will get to him a little bit. And if you look at their 3 games, the one game they had a little bit of difficulty with was the Patriots. And I'm not suggesting the Patriots are on their level or anything, but I do think that Belichick did a good job of keeping everything in front of them. So I think Buffalo will mirror that a little bit because they have the kind of personnel, especially the line, help that happen. I do lean on Buffalo here. I like Buffalo. I don't think 2.5. Them giving up 2.5 at home is more than reasonable. If I told you before the year Buffalo's got a 2.5 point favorite at home, you're jumping all over it. I think this is a good spot here to do it as well. They have enough offensive firepower, obviously, with Allen. And the one thing Buffalo is doing very well this year is running the ball. They're running the ball much better than they have in a long time. So I think they can actually keep Miami's defense on the field longer than they normally have been. So I like Buffalo -2.5.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Delano, break down this AFC East battle for us.
Well, I can tell you what, I have had no luck going against Miami. I am definitely a believer right now of the Dolphins, and I'm really starting to become a fan of Mike McDaniel, a little bit of a different road to head coaching and a little bit of a different style. But, man, this guy really is, a mastermind of the game. Right now, the Dolphins have lost straight up their last 7 trips to Buffalo. But with everything, I think that this is just one of those trends that I think it's set to come to an end here. I'm not going to take the points. I'm going to kind of play this baseball style. And I think that there's value. Money line with the Miami Dolphins plus 125 on Caesar Sportsbook. So I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins for some plus money on the money line to win outright.
Very good. Mr. Folz?
I'm going to ride with Mark with this one. I'm also going to take the Bills -2.5, not because I'm just fading the Dolphins because of what they did to me last weekend. It's simply because everyone kind of freaked out on Buffalo in that first week after Josh Allen had his turnover troubles. He's slowed down with that the last few weeks, and I think they're going to be highly motivated in this game. Everyone's going to love the Dolphins after scoring 70 points. I think they're going to show a little bit of regression, and the Bills are going to get the job done at home, cover the 2.5 points.
Yeah, I really, really like this Miami offense. Even without the Denver game, they'd still be second in scoring in the NFL, putting up 30 points per game. With it, they're obviously a little better than that. However, to me, I think Miami is the best team in the NFL right now. I think their offense is unstoppable. I think their defense is good enough, and they get a lot of time on to rest. The offense rarely goes 4 and out. I like the Dolphins in the money line here. That's an easy one for me. Best team in the NFL, getting points. Yeah, sure. Give me the dogs here. Would you catch it at there, Delano?
Plus 125.
Sounds like a deal. That's what I'd like to. Give me the Dolphins money line. All right, we go from the AFC East to the NFC East as the Commanders travel to the city of brotherly love to take on the Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles -8. Total in this was 44. And the hook. Mr. Cole, what do you got?
I do like the Eagles again. Their paper soft schedule is proving them nicely again. Not bitter at all. I do like.
Nice.
Yeah, I do like. They have performed well. I'll give them credit. They have performed well. Jalen Hurts has been effective with the run game and the QB sneak. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are still elite receivers that can back up. Dallas Goedert still is an offensive weapon that can be used effectively. And the Commanders, although they did get out to a 2-0 start, they beat the Cardinals, who are not tanking, and the Broncos. So I think that's a little bit misguided that the Commanders are doing well. They got beat last week pretty convincingly. And I think the Eagles can simply run the ball effectively against them, enough to make them sort of from 5-point favorites to about 10-point favorites with the run game. So they'll just sort of run out the clock and score points along the way while somehow can't do anything. So I'll take the Eagles.
Okay, very good. You see, you can tell he's a writer because he's like enhances his adjectives, not just a soft. Anybody can say soft defense, but paper soft schedule. That's what I'm talking about, right?
I put a little bit more emotion into that one. So
paints the picture, and it disguises his bitterness not quite as much. But that's the trade-off in that. So, Mark Ruelle, you're up in that neck of the woods where these teams like to play there in the East Conference or the East Divisions. Rather, what do you got here on the NFC side?
Well, this could be Sam Howell's welcome to the NFL moment playing in Philadelphia. That's going to be a unique experience for the first-year quarterback. I love Philadelphia in this one. I think they're starting to round into form. I was actually a little concerned with them the first couple of weeks. I thought Hurts has looked less than spectacular after he was so good last year. Part of me, I think it's adjusting to the new offensive coordinator. I think another part is they're not really featuring him as a runner yet as much, but I thought last night he looked really good. And Philly's defense is just excellent. And they're going up against a team that's 22nd against the run, which is not a good thing against Philadelphia's running game. I just think they're going to pressure Howell because they're going to be able to stop the run and force them to throw. And I think this one could get ugly sooner than later. So I definitely like Philly -8.
DeAndre Swift looked pretty good on Monday night.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's not going to be the featured back because, of course, I have Kenneth Gainwell on my fantasy team. I take the blame for a lot of the weird things. I have Joe Burrow on one team and I have Josh Allen on the other. So, yeah, all the weirdness, I pretty much I'll take full credit for that. Mr. Delano, Commanders and the Eagles. What you got?
Yeah, it's always tough when you got a favorite but more than a touchdown, and it seems to be the consensus is going that way. But I also have to go with the Eagles in this one. Once there was a point where sometime you'd say 7 or 8 points are too many, but what we've seen so far this season in these types of situations, it's usually the favorite covers that number or the dog just completely wins outright. I think that the Eagles are going to win this by double digits. Washington, they may hang around for a while, but I think at the end when Sam Howell's forced to make plays, right now Washington by percentage of pass attempts, they've actually allowed more sacks than any other team in the NFL. Washington has a solid front seven. Unfortunately, going up against the Eagles offensive line, that is not going to help much there. I think that the Eagles are going to be able to run the ball down their throats if they want to. They're going to be able to throw when they want to, and they're going to be able to force turnovers. I also agree that this one could get ugly. I like the Eagles up to -10 on this one.
Okay, very good. Mr. Folz?
I'm going to be taking the Eagles -8 as well. You can put up the screen before Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football when all the people on TV take the same pick, and then it just goes completely the opposite way. That's literally my only worry with this game because it feels like the Eagles -8 should be the easy pick. I don't think the Commanders can stop anyone. Sam Howell looked good against the Broncos defense. Again, not anything to brag about. And this Eagles team, they're going to continue to get stronger and stronger. Jalen Hurts is a beast. And, like David said, I think they're going to run the ball down Washington's throat. So I'm going to take the Eagles and lay the 8 points.
Yep, not howling on this one. There's no lone wolf pick here. I'm riding the Eagles -8 as well. For me, until somebody shows me they can stop the Eagles, I'm going to have to ride them. And Delano, you're talking about it. The other teams, it kind of seem like they're in the game for a while. You look up, it's maybe 10-6, 13-7. And by the end of the game, it's another double-digit win for the Eagles. I'm not sure how it happened, but yeah, there it is. They just grind you into dust. That defense doesn't allow much. We saw, I think, Washington last week play a real team against the Buffalo Bills. It didn't go well. Spoiler alert, I think the Eagles are even better than the Bills. I think we're going to see a similar result here. Yeah, I'm calling for a double-digit win as well. Give me the boys in green there, -8. All right, let's head down to the Big Easy, a little NFC South battle, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. Saints riding likely famous Jameis are a 3-point home favorite. Total in this one, 39.5. Seamus Cole, what you got?
I was looking at the under, but it does concern me that it's 39.5. The Bucs have the capabilities and the Saints have the capabilities to score 20-plus points on offense. So I'm a little bit concerned about that total. I will go with the Buccaneers in this case. Derek Carr is week to week. As you said, Jameis Winston, he's a hit or miss, literally, with his 30 for 30. I can't get that stat out of my head.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, right. I will go with the Buccaneers in this case. They've been a lot better than I have expected, to be fair to them. And while Kamara is coming back for the Saints, I still think he'll need a couple games to get to in-season form. And the Buccaneers' defensive line is still solid, especially up front with the front four. Lavonte David in the linebacker position, he's still effective at stopping the run. And I think the Bucs will do a little bit more on offense with Baker Mayfield as opposed to Jameis Winston, who's getting his first start. So I'm rolling with the Buccaneers, especially as the underdogs. I honestly might take them to win on the money line as well. Not sure what the plus is for that, but depending on the plus, I might take them on the money line as well.
I heard an interesting stat on the game last night, and it kind of goes to the like people ask, well, is Baker Mayfield any good? Well, honestly, I have no idea because he's been in the league 6 years. He's played for 6 head coaches and 7 offensive coordinators. So, if I'm not discounting the possibility that you put Baker in the right system, he can be an average to slightly above average starting quarterback in the NFL. Seamus, yeah, go ahead. That's I like that pick. I think that's probably going to play out that way. Mark, what do you got here?
I can't believe you guys are dismissing the Jameis Winston Buccaneers revenge tour game because clearly he's going to be amped up to take care of his former team, the Bucs. I actually like New Orleans here, and not because, although I do think it'll help him having a week to prepare for the game as opposed to just thrown in last week. New Orleans defense. To answer your question about Baker Mayfield, I guess when you're on your umpteen team in this short amount of time, you can't be that good. A lot of limb on there. You can't be that good. And I don't think – I think he showed out a little bit against the Eagles, made some questionable throws. I think that's more of his MO ultimately is he'll take the risky throw, and it doesn't usually pay off. So I do like New Orleans as a top 10 defense, and I think they're underrated defense, honestly. And they'll carry the day here. And I do think that with time and a week to work with Winston, they'll be fine. And that's not a bad line. I like New Orleans for the line.
Okay, very good. David Delano.
With Jameis playing here, I don't know why anything can happen on any given Sunday, but I don't know how we could feel confident that the Saints, even if they win this game, are going to win by margin. And we talked about the Titans earlier. None of us seemed too impressed with them. They beat them by 1. They beat Carolina, not a very impressive team, by 3. And then they blew a 17-point lead and lost to the Packers last week by 1. I think that Jameis is probably going to make mistakes. And even if the Saints win this game, it's probably going to be by 3. The Tampa Bay is doing a lot of the little things right. They're second in the NFL in turnover margin. They are third in penalties on the positive side. And they're top 6 when it comes to protecting the quarterback. And New Orleans has struggled in that area with protecting the quarterback. So Tampa Bay might be a good play on the money line here, but I'm going to take them +3. I can't lay points with the Saints. To win by margin. So it's Tampa Bay for me.
Okay, Mason.
Yep, I agree. I like the Bucs in this one. But with this pick, I'm actually going to get bold like Seamus was thinking about doing, and I am going to take that under 39.5. I just don't trust either one of these quarterbacks, and I think the Saints defense is legit, and the Bucs, they've shown that they can get some stops, and like Seamus was saying, they've shown they can stop the run as well. So I'm going to take the under 39.5, and I'm going to trust both defenses in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I'm playing the under 39.5 as well. I'd probably play it down to 38. I'm not can't be scared of those numbers. And the thing is, I think both of these defenses far outclass the offenses, and especially with famous Jameis in there. While he may have a little more raw talent than Derek Carr, he's obviously going to make more mistakes, like Mark alluded to. He's going to have those turnovers. He's going to kill the drives, and those, unless they go in, obviously, unless they're deep in his own territory, go for the pick 6. But those tend to keep the totals under as they have a hard time getting the drives going. So I'm going to play the Bucs Saints under 39.5 here as well. All right, moving on to the NFC, or staying in the NFC rather. Vikings played a winless team last week, couldn't get it done. Play another winless team this week. Let's see how they do. They're a 3.5-point road favorites against the Carolina Panthers. 45.5 is the total. Seamus, how about those boys in purple?
So the purple and gold have not had the luck they have had last year. They have lost these close games that they used to win last year. I still like the Vikings in this case. I think the Panthers still have a lot of work to do. Bryce Young is still a very much raw talent. And Andy Dalton got the start last week. He did very well. He threw about 50 times to veteran Adam Thielen, which was pretty great. But I still like Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and that offense much better than the Panthers. I still feel like the Panthers have work to do, as I said, and the Vikings, I've read a stat actually that I think 4 only 4 teams out of like 158 that started out the season 0-3 would make the playoffs since playoffs had started. And I believe if anybody can do it, it would be the Vikings, just because of how close they've lost these games. If they can turn it around and perform the way they did last year, I think they have a good shot of making the playoffs, especially with a weak NFC. So I'm still taking the Vikings here, just based on the talent alone of Justin Jefferson.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. And I also think if you're going to make that kind of a miracle run, they're in the right division. I think that's going to be an ugly hand fighting battle there between the Packers and the Lions. And if the Vikings can insert themselves in that, they can get in on the action and maybe sneak in there as well. I kind of agree. Mark, what do you got here?
I like the Panthers in this game, actually. I think they're a little better offensively with Dalton, the Red Rocket, at quarterback. I wasn't a huge Bryce Young believer when they drafted him first. The jury's still out. It's way too early. I'm not suggesting he's, it's just a little early. I think they're a better offense with Dalton back. I expect Dalton to probably play this week. If you look at the Vikings defense, they're terrible. I mean, 26th overall, 25th against the pass. They're also 31st in turnovers. And one thing Cousins does not like, people in the backfield, and Carolina is 4th in sacks in the NFL. I mean, Carolina will get to the quarterback. I think they're going to squeak out a close win here. I think Minnesota, I think the run is a bit over for them. I don't think they're a playoff team this year. I think the 0-3 is legit, and I think this is a team that's not going to make the playoffs. So I like Carolina with +3.5.
Okay. Like Carolina, you play them straight up at +170?
You know what? I would consider that's a pretty good line. I'd like them to win the game. I might go with the +170. Yeah.
There you go. That's it. In for a penny, in for a pound, brother. Beautiful. David, what do you got?
Well, I mean, the Vikings statistically last year, they really weren't as good as their record was. And
were they 9-1 in single score games? Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but as far as, if you looked at the stats, they definitely overachieved. And I think that we've been seeing that through the first 3 games. But I do think that this is going to be a spot where the Vikings get right. I don't see them falling to 0-4. I think that they're going to put it together offensively. And I don't think that Carolina has the firepower to keep up. They've been competitive. Things haven't gone their way. I think that this is the week that things do go the Vikings' way. And I'm actually expecting a big breakout performance for the Vikings in this game. And I think that they cover the 3.5 points against Carolina.
Okay, very good. Mr. Folz?
I thought I was going to be the only one on this, but Mark took it from me. I love it. I like the Panthers as well, and I'm going to take them money line. I don't believe in this Vikings team at all. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. And I think the Panthers are a better team with Andy Dalton at quarterback. That's my one note I have written down, and that's what I'm sticking with. I think they're going to pull off an upset. I think the line at -3.5 is almost telling us something. The Vikings, yes, they're 0-3, but everyone thinks they're a lot better. And the Panthers, they're just not a great football team overall. So the fact that it's only -3.5 makes me think it's going to be a closer game. I think the Panthers are going to pull one out from under them and get the job done.
Very good. Mason likes the Red Rocket. Very nice. That's also my dog's nickname. So probably not for the same reasons. Here's the deal, man. If the Vikings can't get this one right, this team, they're going to blow this team up. I think the Jets are sniffing around the Kirk Cousins house. He's on the last year of his contract. And if the Vikings go 0-4, I think they blow this team up. I really do. This is a huge game. I think this is a bigger game than most Week 4 contests are for the Vikings. I like desperation, man. When it comes to betting, I like the teams that are desperate. The Panthers are in patience mode. We've got to be patient. We got a young team. The Vikings are in win now, win yesterday mode. I'm going to take it just from a motivational angle. I'm taking the Vikings -3.5. I don't love it, but that's my play. All right, team we saw on Monday night going up against the Indianapolis Colts as the Rams come to town. Colts on right now as of Tuesday afternoon, a 1-point favorite. Total in this one's 45.5. Rams, Colts. What do you think, Seamus? Super Bowl preview?
Yes, I turned off my Madden game after that. I do like the Rams in this case. They did not look good against the Bengals. I'll give them that. Matt Stafford missed a few key throws that could have potentially made them win the game. Kyron Williams did not run as much as I'd like him to. I think they inexplicably just refused to run the ball for a certain period of time. I think that'll be fixed. I think Sean McVay is still an excellent coach. He's still going to make those tweaks, make those little adjustments. The Colts with Anthony Richardson, he's a question mark with his concussion protocol. Gardner Minshew is a capable backup, but in terms of against the Rams, against Aaron Donald, with Matt Stafford having the combination with Puka Nacua, I still think the Rams are going to come out on top with basically a money line. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Kind of not a real strong ending, but that's fine. Mark, what you got?
I gotta go with that. You know what? Is Minshew Mania still running wild? Have they saved all the fake mustaches for the people in Indianapolis? Because I actually like the Colts here. The one thing that jumped out at me last night, which has always been a concern with the Rams, is the offensive line play was terrible.
Not good. Not good.
No, and Indianapolis actually is 5th in the league in sacks. I mean, Indianapolis gets after the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at a game that Indianapolis can take full advantage of their weak offensive line, and the Rams have. They did this last night, which I was surprised because they looked so good running the ball one week, and then last night they fell in love with the pass again. And I think they're going to have a hard time with this Colts team. The Colts are deceptively playing very well. I mean, 2-1 for a team that really top to bottom doesn't look that deep is playing well. So I actually like them at home here. I'm going to take the Colts. I'm going to take the Colts here when I'm basically a pick'em game.
I think sometimes McVay gets Andy Reid disease, that he has to show how smart he is. He has to show that he's not going to do it like everybody else. Okay, well, we figured out running the football. Now we're going to show you how good we are passing the football. And when it doesn't fucking work, he's hard-headed about it. I've got one of those here in Kansas City. David Delano, what say you?
Well, Seamus made a good case for the Rams. Mark made a good case for the Colts. And I'll be honest with you, without really forcing it and stretching it, I can't really make a great case for or against either side. I honestly think that this is a coin flip game as far as the side goes. But when you look at the total here, when you look at these two teams, the total looks a little high. And I actually like the over in this game. I think it's a little bit higher for a reason. Whether Minshew starts or Richardson, I don't think that it really matters. I think that this Colts secondary is still terrible. I don't think that Baltimore properly exploited it. Lamar Jackson, I mean, he was able to run, but as far as a passer, there's still some questions there. I think that the Rams are going to be able to take advantage of that Colts secondary more. They played that game against the Bengals. That was, bad weather, not great conditions. And like you just stated, Steen, I think that Sean McVay, they left some points on the table, getting down within the 2-yard line, trying to show how smart he is, taking a sack. I think that they're going to learn a little bit from that. And now we're going to have, indoor game in Indianapolis. I think that we're actually going to get over 45 points in this game. That's my favorite play in this one.
Okay. I think that's cute. You think Sean McVay is going to learn something. Very good. Mason, what you got?
I'm going to be riding with the Rams. I'm going to go money line here against the Colts. Unlike Mark, I'm just not buying into Minshew mania. I just can't get myself to do it. I trust Matt Stafford. I believe he's the better quarterback, and that's pretty much the main reason I'm going with the Rams in this game. Like David said, it's really just a coin flip.
All right. I can tell you I hate this game so much. If I were to flip a coin, I'm sure it would hit me in the eye and put my eye out. That's how much I hate this game. I think they're a better team with Minshew, like Mark was talking about. I'm not sure, being in concussion protocol on a Monday, which is the last injury report we have. I assume that Richardson is going to be healthy enough to play. We'll see. We'll see if he's got a quick hook for him or not. This Colts team playing pretty good defense. Baltimore was able to run against them last week. The Rams, they are not the Baltimore Ravens. They do not commit to the run like that. Again, gun to my head, give me the Colts, minus the 1 right here. All right, let's finish it up with the last of the early games. as Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the best fan bases in the National Football League, will invade Reliant Stadium as they take on the Texans. Steelers 3-point road favorites. Total of this game is 40 a deuce. For the last time today, lead us off, Seamus Cole.
Perfect. I do like the Steelers in this case. I think their defense is solid. You got TJ Watt as a incredible pass rusher. He nearly got the sack record, I think, last year. He's going to create havoc on the defensive end and force the quarterback to make mistakes, and that's all the defense needs. The offense for the Steelers, Kenny Pickett has done a little bit better than the first 2 weeks of the season. I still don't truly believe in the Steelers offense. I think Matt Canada is not the best offensive coordinator in the game for sure.
Blame Canada.
Fire Canada, fire Canada. Yes, but Najee Harris has not looked great in the running back department. They might even give some reps to Warren as well. So they've got a lot to figure out on that front. Deontay Johnson is out as a receiver for the Steelers. So I also do like the under in this scenario. I think the Texans have good weapons with Nico Collins and Tank Dell that are working well. But the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I think, can match up pretty nicely. And they can hold the Texans defense to under 20 points. And I still don't trust the Steelers offense. So I still think the under and also the Steelers on the spread.
Stuck the dismount right there. Just fucking.
I made up for it. Redemption arc right there.
That's right. We threw out the low score. It's fine, buddy. Mark Ruelle, what do you got?
I'll tell you, like we talked about another game before, I look at this line and I'm like, why is Houston just getting 3? You know, you're looking at a team with a rookie quarterback, a new coach, and here's Pittsburgh with Tomlinson. He's a top 5 coach in the league, no question about it. But he's also played his last 2 games against Vegas, and McDaniel is going to make somebody a great offensive coordinator next year once he's gone. And I think Stefanski's going to make someone a great offensive coordinator once he's gone next year. So I guess I keep coming back to it. They're just a 3-point favorite against this Houston team, and I'm leaning towards Houston. I look at Pittsburgh's offense. It's atrocious. They're 30th on the run. They're 18th in the pass. Their defense, for everybody, you know, talks about the pass rush, they're 28th in the league in defense, and they're 30th against the run. I just think that Houston's going to find a way to grind this one out against the Pittsburgh team that I think is vastly overrated. I think Tomlinson does the best with what he's got. I don't think he's got I don't think top to bottom, specifically on offense, once you get past Pickens, who's a great receiver, you don't have a great offense, don't have a great offensive line. So I'm going to lean Houston here, getting 3.
All right. Very good. And Mr. Delano.
Well, Mark, this is just my perception on why it's only 3. First thing, I don't think that Vegas has really – I said they make a lot of mistakes. I don't think Vegas has had a good feel on the Steelers this year. All right. Well, Mark, I'll say why I think that this is only 3. I don't think that Vegas has had a good feel on the Steelers. I mean, they were only 2.5-point dog that first week against the 49ers. They got blown out. Then they're, an underdog. Really shouldn't have been an underdog to the Browns. They win. They're underdog against the Ravens. They won that. So I don't think that they've really had the respect. Well, they haven't had a good feel on the Steelers. The second thing about it, living here in Houston, the Texans are honoring J.J. Watt. They're retiring his number, putting him in the Ring of Honor. This is going to be a sellout. This is probably going to be the best crowd that the Texans are going to have all season. So I think that they're giving the Texans a little bit of a advantage there. Problem is, when it comes to the NFL home field advantages, I don't think that Houston right now, the way this Texans team has been, is really a tough place to play. I mean, proof's in the pudding. Texans did not win a home game all year last year. Right. And then they lost their first home game here. So I'm not sure that, how much of a home field advantage that really is. And even though they're honoring Watt and you could think that the team's going to show up, well, the guys on the Texans team didn't play with J.J. Watt. I actually think that this might be a little bit of more of a motivation for baby brother to step up on his day for big bro. And I don't overthink this. I think the 3 points, that Steelers defense going up against a rookie quarterback, I've got to lay the 3 with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same as well, David. I'm going to take the Steelers -3. I think the Texans, they're going to be pretty excited after that big win over the Jags last week. They're going to come back to reality a little bit, and the Steelers are going to cover that 3-point spread. Full rust.
How long will the halftime speech be for J.J. Watt telling everybody how many charities he's donated to in the last couple of years?
Nice.
I'm not saying he brags about it or anything, but he may, you know.
That's a good point.
I don't like to mention it, but I'm extremely generous. Here, guys, I got to tell you, every time I look at one of these teams, they have a great performance. I get on them the next week, they screw me.
Yeah.
So now they're playing each other. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Texans on the money line +138. Sure. That's my play here. I don't love the Steelers offense at all. I think the Texans will be able to do enough at home. I like this. The Texans offense is a little feisty. It's a little feisty, and they still have to get the run game going. Yeah, I'll take the Texans here at a nice price, +138. Hey, here's a fun fact about this game. Here's what happens when you get old. I didn't realize. I didn't really think about it. That Joey Porter wasn't playing anymore. And look up, I see it's Joey Porter Jr. So yeah, I'm old. That was they drafted him last season. So yeah. All right. So what did I blow past? By the way, I am
in Baltimore.
I am notorious when I host of blowing past at least one game.
We're saving a good one for last.
Was it Mason? Was it not on the sheet?
No, it was. I just checked. I knew that question was coming.
Where the hell
Nice
is
try.
it?
You're trying to sell out Mason right there.
Dude, I copied and pasted.
I won't stand for it, Mason. I won't stand for it.
Thank you, Mark.
Was it the last game?
No, it was in between the Broncos and Bears and Bengals and Titans.
Between the Broncos and Bears.
Fourth one.
Oh, yep, there it is. Yep. Oh yes,
Any game after the Broncos and Bears takes a back seat, of course.
I bullet pointed it by mistake.
We were just focused on the awfulness.
Yeah, I had it. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Okay.
You are good.
AFC North battle: Ravens and Browns. Woo! Browns 2.5-point home favorite. Total is 41. 41. Wow, how many games is that going to take? Now for the last time. I swear to God, this is it. Seamus, who do you like here?
Well, the good thing for you is that they all play at the same time, so it doesn't really matter that much. I do like the Ravens in this case as the underdogs. I think they're a lot better than people have been looking at. They lost to the Colts in overtime. There was a flurry of mistakes that they made that I believe they can fix. They are decimated by injuries. J.K. Dobbins, who is, I think, my first or second running back in my fantasy team, went kaboom in week 1. So that decimated my team early.
Forgot about him. Yes, I had him as well.
Yeah, so I had to regroup quickly, and I think the Ravens can do that as well. The combination of Gus Edwards and Justice Hill will be adequate. The Browns defense is nothing to be messed with either. So it's going to be a tough time for the Ravens to get that ground game going. But I also do believe in Lamar Jackson. He's looked well. He's looked solid throwing the ball. He's out of certain receivers like Odell Beckham, but he still has Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers has looked pretty well. So I think just as from an offensive perspective, Deshaun Watson has not done as well as people in Cleveland would have liked him to. And if they can stop Amari Cooper on defense, I like the Ravens winning this game on the money line, especially as underdogs.
Okay, very good. A little Ravens upset, if you will. Do you see a Ravens upset as well, Mr. Ruelle?
Well, Seamus, first, I can't believe you didn't try to massage Watson's ego.
Yes.
I'm not massaging anything. I'm not doing that. No chance.
The under seems the obvious play in this one. Even though the number is low at 41.5, two great defenses. The Browns defense has been unbelievable so far this year. Their pass rush has been excellent. So my main play would be the under in this game. If I was going to pick a team, I'm leaning towards the Ravens. I think Jackson's getting back each week. I thought he looked a little against Houston first better. He's the one quarterback in the NFL that even with his so I'd like the under for sure. And if I'm going to talk, if the game comes down to which quarterback plays Jackson in this one, so I'll take ball 2.5.
Okay. Mr. Delano, the Browns are your team. Anxious to hear the homer thoughts here.
Well, it's sometimes you could try not to homer too much the other way. I mean, this is a tough one. Sometimes through the years, when the Browns look like the side, they find ways to beat themselves. But the Ravens are also one of those teams you can never count them out against anybody, but you can never fully count them in either. Looking at this rivalry, they're probably going to split these two games one way or another this season. And the home team has won the last 4 matchups. I really like what Jim Schwartz has done with the Browns defense. I mean, the defense has been tremendous, and familiar with Lamar Jackson. He's had some high turnover games sometimes in the past against Cleveland. They could force him into a pass here. I'm actually going to go ahead and take the Browns in this one, but this one is really one with the number. As we're recording it right now, it's a slim margin. The Browns, minus 2.5, I'll take it. With all the Ravens injuries. But if by the time you're watching this, if this was 3.5 instead of 2.5, I would probably go the other way. So like I said, I'd take the Browns at 2 or 2.5, but if it moves past 3, I'd probably go in the other direction. This should be a close game.
Okay. Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit. The defenses for both of these teams are outstanding. Ravens defense, very good. Browns defense, number 1 in most categories that matter. They have just been getting it done on both sides of the ball versus the run and versus the pass. The one thing that I worry about here is this Baltimore defense is outstanding on third downs, and this Cleveland offense has struggled a little bit. They have to stay ahead of the chains, and sometimes that's hard to do for a running team. You've got to be able to stay out of your third and longs because they are coming at you. This is going to come down to who can run the ball effectively. I think the Browns are going to have a slight edge there. I'll take the Browns minus the 2.5.
Yep. I'm actually going to do the exact same, but I'm going to take the under as well. I also noticed that Gus Edwards was placed on the injury report with a concussion early in this week, and so is Rashad Bateman. So just a few more weapons for the Ravens that are added to that laundry list of injuries. So for that reason, I'm going to ride with the Browns minus 2.5. But my main play here is going to be the under, as I really like both of these defenses.
I just worry that's an okie doke. It seems like such the obvious play. I just worry. It's like the Eagles. It's like that Eagles number. You're like, wow, they should easily cover it. I just worry we're getting the old okie doke there. But
yep.
By the way, Mason, sorry for blowing past you. I'm assuming we can fix that in post when you do all the fancy editing.
Yep.
Yeah, you saw how much editing we do as I got up and left and then I guarantee you that's going to be in the final show.
Oh, yeah. Can't take out David's he had a great analysis while you were gone. You missed it.
What was that?
Yeah, they actually did.
His analysis while you were taking care of your chore was amazing.
Delano's?
Oh, yeah.
I know it went for a minute. So, yeah, I'm assuming there was a lot of good high-quality material in there. All right, gentlemen, it's week 4, but just week 2 for us in the books as we wanted to make sure we had all the I's dotted and T's crossed before we got the show rolling. I appreciate you guys stopping by and joining us. Seamus, where can we find you?
Oof, that's tough. I'm sort of off the social media grid, but I'm working on it. You can still find me at Whiners and Whiners and StatSalt, where I write articles every day, make predictions every day. You have a lot of bet packages I have going on for the NFL season, college football season, all that stuff. So those are the 2 platforms right now. Working on getting Instagram, working on getting Twitter. It's about just putting the effort into it. So, yeah.
Okay, well, man's got priorities. Seamus, just give us your address in case anybody wants to stop by to chat since you're not on social media.
Yeah, so my social security number actually is
Mark, I'm assuming we can find you a lot of the same places. Are you on social medias?
I am. If you want to go to at betwithrude24, that's my Twitter account. And if you look weekly on Whiners and Whiners, not only do I have my prediction games, but I do feature articles on the NFL, baseball, and soon college football, and soon to be basketball, because I apparently have so much time on my hands. I'll just keep writing and writing and writing.
And by the way, we haven't officially talked about this, you and I, but Mark had a hell of a run in the Triple Crown this year.
Yes.
So when horse racing season comes around, definitely look for Mark's stuff as far as the Triple Crown and horse racing in general. That was a very, very nice run you had going there, my friend.
Thank you.
Nicely done. And Mr. Delano, where can we find you?
You can follow me on X at Get Sports Strong. Who knows what's going to happen with X? So you can also follow me on Instagram there. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. And I'm also on this YouTube channel each day, making prediction videos. And one other thing too, I want to bring up. Obviously, there's a lot of first-time deposit bonuses. So you check out Winners and Whiners /betting. You can check out, I write up a lot of the different promotional offers that we have that you can take advantage of. So we'd appreciate it if you check that out as well. So you can find me any of those places.
Stole some of my thunder. Mason, what about you?
You can find me on the Winners and Whiners website. I'm posting my daily best bet packages every single day. You can also find me on the Winners and Whiners YouTube page. I'm putting my weekend football picks out every Friday. I'm also on Twitter, X at Mason_Folz. And that's about it. Pretty much anywhere.
That's not it. Don't forget about the Discord. We've got a great Discord.
Yeah, you took it from me. You can almost, I was that close, Steen. Almost remembered. You can also find me, and I did forget another one too. You can find me on the Discord, the Winners and Whiners Discord, and I'm also on the Winners and Whiners TikTok. So you can head over to all those different places. You can find all of our great content.
He's up on the TikTok, folks. He's like dancing and he's trying out recipes and stuff. It's hilarious. You got to stop and see his TikTok stuff. Remember when we used to have Twitter? That was cool.
Yeah.
By the way, if you've been looking for our Twitter account, we're currently fighting with Twitter right now. They've suspended our account for the second time. First time they did it, they admitted they had no reason and reinstated it immediately. And then they did it again about 3 days later. And so far, we've received no reason. So if you've been frustrated and haven't been able to find us on Twitter /X/fuck Elon Musk, then that's the reason. So apologies. Mason is diligently working to get it restored. It worked the first time. We'll see how he does the second time. And he does a great job with all the social media, by the way. If you see any social media stuff, you see any Twitter, Facebook, but the Gram and TikTok, of course, the Discord channel. That's all Mason, so give him a shout out. And definitely check out all of these guys. All sell premium picks, all sell great NFL and college football packages. We only put the best on this show. We don't put the mutts on here. So if these guys are on camera, they're flat out getting it done. So I highly advise you, if you're looking for somebody to help you out with some picks, maybe the season hadn't started the way you wanted to. Take a look. Reasonably priced. We price them for all manner of budgets. So if you're a big player, we got you. If you're a guy that likes to bet $10-$20 a game, we got a price point that'll work for you there as well. And of course, check out Delano and Mason doing their videos about the football games and whatnot when it comes to the world of sports betting. And check out the Winners and Whiners website, the #1 site in the world for predictive sports analysis. Do not forget to check it out. Great free resources. That's the best part about it. Everything on there, all your games, they are absolutely free. So if you want to get the idea of what some of the writers like these guys are thinking, check out winnersandwhiners.com for second opinion. Always check out statsalt.com as well. Mason, I think I covered everything. Did I forget anything?
I think you got it, Steen. We're ready to roll.
All right, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. Thanks to my panel for joining us. We'll see you guys probably in a couple of weeks. And we'll see you guys next week as we bring back a whole new panel. What do you got? The old heads in here next week again, Mason?
We do.
We got Crusty Bastards at Chris King's coming in, and Rachel. Who else was here?
We had Tom Macrina.
Oh, that's right. Right, Cape. Yeah, he's a good cat from Philly. So we can listen to him talk about the Eagles for half an hour. That'd be great. All right, guys, had a great time. Hope everybody is out there having a great season. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, do all that shit that you would normally do. And we'll see you next week on our as yet untitled NFL show. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.